Hi, I'm Dennis Shea. I'm the Associate Dean for the College of Health and Human Development here at Penn State, and I'm here with two of my colleagues to talk about business programs.
Hi, I'm Jenn McCauley, and I'm Assistant Teaching Professor in the College of Information Sciences and Technology.
I'm Seth Blumsack. I'm a professor in the Department of Energy and Mineral Engineering in the College of Earth and Mineral Sciences, where I also serve as the program chair for our department's program in energy, business, and finance.
Glad to be here with all of you, and I'm looking forward to talking about it. I think we're going to start just with tell us a little bit about the business programs in your college and what opportunities they open for students.
Great. Thanks, Dennis. I guess I'm going first. So I worked majority of my time in the enterprise technology and integration major, which focuses really on how technology can be used in various contexts across all industries and sectors. And so it's a really interesting degree. We work really hard to get our students a chance to be very technically savvy, but also understand business concepts at a high and low level.
So within Earth and Mineral Sciences, we have two kind of very specifically focused business degree programs that are really oriented towards the energy sector, right? So we have a major and minor in energy, business, and finance, which provides students with training to enter the energy sector writ large in a business capacity. Recognizing that a lot of earth science stuff is really connected to business decision making, right? We have some other business related programs in our college also. A good example is the Meteorology and Atmospheric Sciences Department has a program in weather risk management, which is very relevant to all sorts of different business enterprises.
Great. And in the College of Health and Human Development, very diverse college, we have actually 4 programs that students use for business type careers. Our School of Hospitality Management, ranked one of the top 5 programs in the country, is a fantastic program, one of the oldest programs, one of the first programs developed in the nation. And their students go on to all sorts of management positions in the global hospitality industry. So hotels, restaurants, casinos, anything that's related to hospitality is where those students end up. Our program in Recreation, Park, and Tourism Management offers students 4 pathways to business careers. Commercial recreation management is one, and so students who are interested in amusement parks, gaming facilities, all sorts of commercial recreation resorts. These are the types of things that students use with that degree. Our community recreation management really focuses more kind of the local community level. So think about your community YMCA, who needs somebody to run that program. So those community management facilities are where many of our students end up there. A third area is outdoor recreation management in that program, and those students who are interested in working in national parks, in working in all sorts of adventure recreation programs, they get training for those opportunities. And then we have in that program a PGA affiliated professional golf management program, one of only about 15 or so in the country, where students learn all about how to run major golf facilities. So that's the second department. Our third department is the Department of Health Policy and Administration, and students in that program are focused on health administration. And so they're learning all about health management in all the different types of facilities, and they go on to careers in all different types of healthcare facilities, major hospitals and health systems, physician practices, aging services, rehabilitative services, health insurance, health consulting, health policy. And so any really career that's connected to the huge healthcare industry are management programs that those students go into. And then our fourth program is Human Development and Family Studies, and those students have the option to really study about business careers in social and community management. So think of your nonprofit agencies, your community service agencies, as well as those folks get a good preparation if they want to go into corporate training or human resources with that kind of lifespan development approach that they take in that department. So wide spectrum of opportunities across our 4 different departments that offer business-type degrees in the College of Health and Human Development.
Students in my college, they're involved in a wide variety of different academic programs, right? Some of them are in our kind of business-specific program, and some of them are in very kind of fundamental earth science programs. And there are a number of them that are able to get business education while they are at at Penn State through the through the energy business and finance minor, for example, right? So that's a great pathway to complement a major that is definitely not in a traditional business discipline with something that will kind of at least get you like a flavor, right, of how people in those disciplines think. And I mean, this is something that I think is increasingly important, right? Because even if you are just, if you are trained as a geologist and you think of yourself as a geologist, there's a really good chance that once you go out into the world, you're going to wind up interacting with people who have very different training from you, right? And it can really help professionally to understand, even if business isn't your specialty, to understand kind of how people from those backgrounds think, right? And how they view the world and how they make decisions.
Yeah, that's an interesting talking point because I think about our college and I'm trying to understand the perspectives from other colleges in regards to how focused they are. But IST is a college that's an I school, and so we're very interdisciplinary. Like, our faculty members come from all different walks of life, right? My background is social technical organization theory, whereas other people are deep in the weeds of coding and building out true new AI models. And so for me, I look at our students and they're in such demand across the entire university. Like, I couldn't begin to tell you how many different clubs and organizations they have. We just had Thon last weekend, and the students were looking at me like exhausted on Monday because they were all there, right? They were all there in the middle of it and then back into the classroom talking about advanced database concepts. And we managed to make it fun, right? We ended up breaking down how Thon runs their technology and what it looks like. And oh, by the way, we had the technology chair in my classroom, right? So why am I teaching? He can teach it. Although his voice was gone because apparently Thon requires a lot of talking. So at the end of the day, like, they're all over the place when you think about the students and how they're engaged. Their extracurricular activities can go from the equestrian team, dressage team for horses, all the way through to the, well, quite honestly, a lot of them have their own businesses. I've had a student last semester who built his own application using one of our prototype bases, and he sold it to his HOA.
Wow. That's impressive.
That's impressive, yeah.
Yeah, HHD, our programs have really always included a lot of experiential opportunities for students throughout their education from the time the college was founded in the 1960s. And that includes that our programs typically require an internship. And so students are going to do a full-time internship through their experience. Or our School of Hospitality Management is a little bit unique in that they require work experience, but also offer optional internships. I can guarantee pretty much if you were in State College and going to a hotel or a restaurant, you were probably interacting with students from the School of Hospitality Management at some point during your day there. But in addition to those internships that students are doing all across the country, I think our faculty build some fantastic courses with experiences. So for instance, we have had students go to the Summer Olympics and actually see how you plan for and get ready for the Summer Olympics in Paris. Our students this spring are going down to the NFL draft and learning how you run the NFL draft as an event. Students have gone on Carnival Cruise Lines to learn how you do a guest experience on a major cruise ship. Our students in hospitality management run a restaurant here on campus as part of their education. So hopefully one of you or both of you have been to Cafe Laura at some point for a dinner. And so it's sort of part of the philosophy of our faculty, and it's probably true for a lot of the other colleges. The experiences are built in a lot of times into the classes. There's lots of hands-on, apply your learning, see how you can do it, whether it's in Thon or it's in weather forecasting and risk management or in hospitality management.
Yeah, I think there's also a lot of opportunities for students from multiple majors, right? And I'll talk specifically about my college, and I'm sure yours are the same. There's lots of opportunity for them through a kind of global engagement coursework to go out and see how technology and business decisions work in real life, right? So like a colleague of mine, for example, used to take students to New Zealand every year, right, which has some really innovative ways of using renewable energy, right, on this very land-limited island nation, right? And so he would take them there and they would see some of the technologies they would use and some of the decisions that they were making, right, in this very constrained environment to like actually make this happen.
I want to pick up on something that both of you said, which was a little bit about kind of the learning the business kind of in the field that you're going to work in, and also kind of the faculty's qualifications and skills, because I think that's something that we find in HHD as well that's really important for the business education that our students get. One of those is that all our students are going to be learning the same things they learn in any business field. You're taking human resources, you're taking finance, you're taking accounting, you're taking strategic planning and marketing. It's all the same business curriculum. The difference in our college, which I think is probably similar to a lot of others, is that students are learning that in the context of the industry they're going to work in. And so they're seeing a balance sheet from Marriott. They're looking at a hospital strategic plan. They're doing case studies and experiential activities that are related to the very places they're going to go and work in. And often they're being taught by folks who worked in the industry for some period. We have a lot of faculty in our college who have industry experience. They've come back to the university. They may have gone and got their PhD, and now they're ready to teach and share that experience with students. And so I think it really gives our students a fantastic education. Love to hear about maybe some of that in your colleges too.
Yeah, I think we're a little bit different in regards to when they come into our degree program. We actually partner with some of our other colleges to give them certificates in those other colleges. And so we're using some of the courses that are actually taught in those business colleges and giving them the best of both worlds.
So I think, I mean, certainly in my department in particular, right, which is very broadly focused on energy and minerals, right? This is everything, whether it comes from above the ground or below the ground, we basically cover it, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of kind of classroom-based professional interaction that happens. And this runs the gamut from a number of years ago. I took a group of students down to Philadelphia for a week to basically help a company set up like a small-scale power grid management system, right? We have students who go off and work with mining companies, for example, and we also, because we have this very kind of rich alumni network, right? We will bring folks back and bring them into the classroom. So we have an alum who actually graduated from my department some time ago as a petroleum engineer, then after sort of working as an engineer for a while, became a venture capitalist and came back to teach a course kind of across my college on crisis leadership, right? How do you think about leadership in times of crisis? Which is really, it's one of those like, if we think about a program that is very quantitative and heavily analytical and all this stuff, it's one of those super, super important skills that often gets overlooked, but can be one of the most important things that you learn. And so it's great to have sort of people with that kind of experience, right, come back and dedicate so much of their time, right, to educating students.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the incredible value of the Penn State alumni network is I think something we tap into too. I always have, when I teach my class, I have at least one day a month where I have a panel of alumni come in and just share their experience. I can step back, let them kind of share what they have learned with students. A lot of our internships come from alumni connections too. It's really just a great part of what it is to be a Penn Stater.
Yeah, and when we do that, they're way more popular than the boring professors.
Absolutely. We have a couple departments. I don't know if your colleges do this. We have a couple departments that actually once a semester have a program they call Alumni in the Classroom, where for like 2 or 3 days, every class that they can arrange is taught by an alum. And it's really an incredible experience. We get 15, 20 alumni, maybe more, to participate and share their expertise.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about how much the students light up whenever they can have that conversation with someone. But also, it introduces the fact that, like, you don't have to know where you're going when you get here. You just have to be curious and have a lot of energy in looking for what feels good for you. And we see that whenever we bring the alumni in, but also whenever we send the students out to those opportunities that alumni create for our students. Just this week, I was at a business dinner with another industry partner, and there were about 10 of us around the table. And the one thing that we all had in common was that none of us were working in the degree that we originally started in, right? So we were all different paths. The other thing we had in common was that we all had technology in our day job, but not in a way that defined us, right? It was part of it, but it wasn't all of it. And I think that's like the thing that people get wound up with the age of AI. Everybody's doing tech, right? Anybody can write code. In fact, I just listened to someone on a podcast talk about how she only writes 10% of any tech code now. So at this point, we're in a weird place where a lot of different areas are converging, and technology is a thread that's through it. And so our college gives you a great advantage when it looks at, like, how do you move in an interdisciplinary style across technology, which weaves through all of your different industries, right?
Yep. No, I think that's a great example, and I think it's something that we do a lot of in HHD as well. A lot of our programs, HPA, HDFS, Health Policy and Administration, Human Development and Family Studies, Recreation, Park and Tourism Management, Hospitality Management, are available at other campuses, either for that 2+2 or in some cases as a 4-year degree program. Health Policy and Administration, Human Development and Family Studies, and Rec, Park, and Tourism Management are also available on the World Campus. So students want the convenience of maybe doing some classes online, some classes in person, either at a campus or here at University Park, or to do a full degree online, can do that and get that preparation. So it really, I think, takes advantage of the flexibility of Penn State's system to be able to let students do their degree their way, maybe sometimes to change their mind. We have a lot of students, for instance, in Health Policy Administration who started in the College of Science and realized that they didn't want to get too involved in all the body parts. and maybe there were other ways to get involved in healthcare, and learning that there's policy and business that are part of healthcare, and you can influence whole populations' health by the actions you take as a business or a policymaker, I think is it really opens up some eyes to the ways that maybe you can really flourish in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are a lot of the programs in my college, right, are really structured as what we call discovery programs or discovery majors. And our energy business and finance program is sort of a prime example of this. And because many students will come to Penn State not knowing what energy business and finance is, right, and then they learn about it somehow, and they sort of realize that, like, energy runs the world, right? And, it is increasingly running, AI and the tech world.
Oh, the data centers.
Oh, yes.
Oh, dear.
Mm-hmm. And they become fascinated with it. And whether they start at UP or whether they start at one of the other campuses, right, the way these majors are designed, right, there's a lot of flexibility, and it's easy to move in, whether you started in a different program or in a different college, right? We do have a lot of 2+2 students who spend 2 years at another campus and then move to UP. So there's all sorts of options. Yeah. We also have it's not a business program per se, but we have energy and sustainability policy programs, right, which are really aimed at meeting these kind of emerging business and societal needs that are offered through World Campus. And so if you are a working adult, or if you can only go to school part-time, or if you're in the military, right, there are these options, right, for you to learn skills that, will be really relevant to industry.
Yeah. No, I love that flexibility point, because that's something that we really encourage our programs to do. And so we have students that minor in an IST and HPA because what a great field to go into in terms of the information technology used in the healthcare world. I was guest lecturing in a class the other day, and there were two students who were cybersecurity majors, and I told them you're going to make a huge amount of money if you go into cybersecurity and healthcare, because one of the biggest targets for hackers is all that medical and financial information in healthcare companies.
Don't worry, we teach them how to secure it.
Exactly, that's what we're hoping. But it's also, we have students that do great like major minor combinations across these different programs. And so there's the sustainability minor at Penn State that a lot of students who are interested in sustainability in any field can do that. We have a meeting and events management minor that a lot of our students do who are interested in running these big events. We have students that are interested in nutrition. If you're going to be a hospitality manager and you have your big restaurant facility, you better know something about nutrition. If you're a healthcare manager, you better know something about biology. And so being able to combine a major in a business field with a minor in something that is related to what you're going to do, I think is a great opportunity for students at Penn State. And that's the flexibility that I think we try and build into.
All the different colleges, but really you can do majors and minors across many of the different colleges here at the university. And I see a lot of my cybersecurity students taking the business minor certificate program through our college that allows them to get those certifications and walk out of there with both. Thinking about the context that you just mentioned with health policy administration and also restauranteering and all of those things, I think about like how technology is going to change that as well, right? And how are you kind of approaching that with AI on everybody's mind?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, and I think just some great ways that people are looking at it. So we have faculty members who are using AI to develop and design new scientific medical tests that are related to maternal and child health. We have faculty that use AI in mental health applications, where you want to train the AI to read body and face expressions to help better diagnose mental disorders. And so it's a fascinating field, and a lot of times they're partnering with faculty in science and IST and other colleges in order to be able to bring that great interdisciplinary that I think that is part of Penn State's strength to bear on these big questions. And then it goes into the classroom to teach students all about how the fields that they're going to be working in are all connected to this. So.
It really does. Like that's the magical part. Like you're talking about those programs, and I'm thinking about my own experiences and research with traumatic brain injuries and how AI and HHD research is hand in hand to help people, and that's a difference maker. And these are undergraduates that are working on this type of work. It's not just the graduate students or the people that are on a path for a research PhD. It's the students that are looking at it like, wow, I didn't know I could do that while I'm still in my undergrad years.
And I think it also really, I mean, I think it really opens up students' eyes to just kind of all of the ways that these technology tools are just they're just infiltrating everything.
Permeating.
Right? Yes.
That's the word I constantly think of. Like it's everywhere, and it's not a turf thing, right? Like you all use technologies every day to do your jobs, and it's part of what you're teaching in your colleges as well.
Yeah. So one of the things that for students in my college, it's really no different, right? Whether they are whether they are doing things like remote sensing in harsh environments, or trying to drill an oil well, or trying to figure out how to get all of this wind and solar power on the electric grid without it collapsing, right? They're all basically using these tools. And it really has gotten to the point where the use of the tools is so pervasive, and sometimes it has its sort of own little subdisciplinary language that we have started teaching students about use of AI in the energy sector, right, or in earth sciences, right, and so that's a really good way to complement some of the kind of core AI stuff that's being taught in your college, Jen, for example.
Absolutely. And I think about the university's efforts to make everyone, not just incoming students, but faculty and staff AI literate in the next year or two. It's a game changer, right? To see that coming out in the next probably 6 months, we'll see tooling coming out in all of those areas. But at the end of the day, it's something that everyone uses, and it's also something that we have to use sustainably and ethically. And there's degrees in our college that allow you to explore ethics and compliance. There's degrees that allow you to support technology integration. So I think about all of your Internet of Things, right? Your sensors, that's the other way of saying it. That's all coming back into a cloud service provider, and someone has to understand what are the levers and the pulls in the cloud service provider to keep you from storing data that's going to cost you millions of dollars, right? Yeah. It's not a budget thing anymore.
Yeah. I'm thinking back over the years. Penn State has hackathons and startups and all those sorts of things. And I think some of the ones that I found most interesting have been ones that have actually paired some students from IST with students from science or health and human development on some of these health applications for the Internet of Things, and how maybe we can get more data, better data, faster data in order to understand our health decisions.
Yeah, I was a judge at the Hack PSU, and to see the different tracks that are happening in Hack PSU, and if you're not familiar with Hack PSU, it is a 24-hour hackathon. So these students come in, they may not have a team, and then all of a sudden they're forming teams, and they've got an idea that's going at it, and it goes across all different industries, right? I saw one of the ones I remember was a disaster recovery effort to try to find resources faster for people that were stuck in like a flooded zone. And how do you actually even communicate that, because cell phones aren't working anymore, right? And so Hack PSU is a beauty.
Yeah.
A Chicken Student Center in our Westgate building, and that place is just fun. Like my office, I happen to walk through the student center to get there, and some days I take the back door because I'm like, I don't have time to be this social, right? These students are just having a good time, but they're having a good time and they're helping each other learn, and they're just getting into it. The diplomats are a huge part of that, but also we have other student orgs like the cybersecurity consulting group, right? And they actually go and do tabletop exercises with community partners. And we're just starting an enterprise technology integration student group that is going to be working on trying to work out with the community more on various enterprise level, which I don't know if anyone knows what enterprise is, but really it is the big company products, right? It's the big organizations like your Johnson & Johnson's, your Heinz North America, those sort of groups, and how they run technology across those platforms and those different people. So the student orgs kind of, I think, are the community based. So those students that are coming from other campuses, they want to get involved in student orgs right away, because that's where the magic happens. Like, that's how you get connected back into the community. Whenever, I know in my own 2+2 experience, it was tight-knit at the campus I was at, and then all of a sudden I didn't know anyone again. And I was like, what is this? But the student orgs seem to be something that's different now that wasn't there when I was a part of Penn State undergrad.
Yeah, I think student orgs in our college are really big too. And I think the School of Hospitality Management has something like a half dozen student orgs all on their own. And those students are going to national conferences to meet business executives. They travel all over the country to kind of make those connections and do that networking and to share what they're learning. And I think that's a great example. There are a couple of business professional organizations in health policy and administration too. So students, it's great because students can get a student membership. They're already starting to read some of the trade literature in the industry that they're going to work in. They have guest speakers come in all the time to talk about the things that are going on in their fields. And I think in all our different programs, you'll probably have one or two or three different student orgs that students are really active in and sharing kind of their knowledge. I also want to mention research that you mentioned earlier, Seth, because I think that's something that a lot of students in business fields sometimes don't think about as an opportunity. But I always try and remind them that research is something every organization, every business does every day, whether it's customer research, product research, whatever they're doing, they're trying to figure out what they can do better. and that's research. And so, our School of Hospitality and Management has a foods decisions lab, which brings people in to see the type of things that influence which foods they pick in a restaurant setting, say. Our faculty in health policy and administration are working with students who've been helping them to study how states who received money from the opioid settlement are using that in order to prevent future drug addiction or to provide drug addiction treatment. And so students who are interested in any business field, I think, really, in addition to thinking about organizations, need to think about research experiences too, because they'll be that much better prepared for what comes afterwards.
Yeah, and so another aspect of this, and both of you touched on it in different ways, and this is one that Earth and Mineral Sciences is a small college, and so it has a strong community feel, right? And so we have lots of active student orgs, and they tend to work together a lot to do things, right? But they are also, and they're also very involved with the faculty. So in a way, they're almost like student-faculty cooperative organizations. And there are lots of examples of these orgs in my college that are taking their kind of technical and business knowledge and bringing it out into the community in various ways. So one of a couple that have been really prominent there's a program called the Local Climate Action Program, which involves both students and faculty from Earth and Mineral Sciences. And what they do is they partner with communities, I think mostly in Pennsylvania, who are saying, well, we know we're going to be affected by a changing climate, but we don't really know what to do about it, right? And then this group works with communities to think through various kinds of adaptation plans. The other one I'll mention, which is out of the Department of Meteorology and Atmospheric Science, is Weather World, right? Which is basically a student-run, basically weather forecasting television show, right? And how cool is that? You can come to college and you can be on TV, right, in front of the cool weather map.
Thank you for a fantastic conversation. It was really great to hear from both of you about the different programs and the different opportunities in business fields that cut across our colleges and Penn State generally. So it was great talking with you today, Seth.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for letting me be part of the conversation, Dennis.
Yeah, this was really fun. And honestly, I'm looking forward to the next time we see each other on campus.